I'm here to tell someone that out of everything you do in life, please get some type of understanding out of it. Gain some type of knowledge and wisdom from what you go through. Don't just be running around in circles. Just don't be doing a repeat in life over and over because you're not learning nothing, because you're not gaining no understanding. You might gain knowledge. See, knowledge is nothing without wisdom. Wisdom is taking knowledge and applying it to what you know and using it for your benefit. Wisdom is having experience, knowledge, good judgment. The old folks say, just have some good common sense, child. Just good common sense. Some things you ain't got to be so smart to have common sense. Sometimes it seems like these young folks ain't got no common sense. Okay. See, the quality of being wise is having the ability to discern the qualities in and out of relationships, whether it be mutual relationships or whether it be a God relationship. The Bible tells us that wisdom is the principal thing, meaning we need to get it. Principal. First important, most important thing is to get some type of understanding in our relationships, in the people that you hang around. So you can hang around a lot of people, but you ain't understanding why they hang around you or why you hang around them, then you completely miss the whole picture. You got to have the understanding about the people that you hang with, because if you don't understand who you hang with, you might find yourself in trouble and don't know how you got in it. Because some of the people that we hang around mean us no good, because they're going to do what they're going to do, and you hang around them, then you get caught up in what they do. That's why you got to have some type of understanding in your relationships and the people that hang around you. So try to get an understanding of what others are saying, because I have found out that sometimes after I had said something or text something and I sit back and just look and listen to their response, I be thinking, you know what I think? I'm like Mr. Brown. I said, you know what I think to myself? I say, huh? I said, I be thinking, how in the world did they get this out of that? I said this, but they came up with that. Huh? With this little mind of mine, I be thinking, if I said that, how in the world did they get this? So today we're going to learn how to talk about having conversations, but understanding what was said, if that's okay with y'all. We must understand it's not always what we said, but what they heard. So until we understand this reality, it would be difficult to change our relationship. Why, Bishop? Because we just talking to people and we talking to their filters. I have a question at hand. What are filters? Filters is a combination of many things. It can be the emotions, it can be their experience, and most time it's just our assumptions. See, a lot of times because of the experience someone have in their past, that's how they determine what you say. A lot of times it's the emotions that get in the way. They feeling what they're going through, whether it be in the present, what they're going. See, when somebody got their emotions all tied in things and they're going through something right now while you're talking to them, then you might get a different outcome. They're not literally listening to what you're saying because they caught up in what they're going through. Have you ever been going through a whole lot of somebody talking to you and you don't know what they're saying, you just answering? Then it can be our assumptions of what they have made up in their mind about your intentions already. So the combination of all these things. You know, a lot of times you see somebody and you already made up in your mind. You're assuming that they want this or they just want something. So your reaction is going to be based on what your assumptions. So all this serves as a filter that impacts our interpretation of what someone say to us. So sometimes what you say is not what they heard. It's what the filter allowed to get through. It's what we've been through, what we didn't experience, it's how we feel at that moment when somebody's speaking to us. It depends on what we are hearing. Let me make it a little bit more clear for y'all, okay? So if all you experience is a lot of negativity in your life, then I have a lot of negative emotions. Some people just negative all the time. Then every time you think somebody people, you go to talk to somebody, they always think you coming for a negative reason. They even their assumptions are negative. Everything about them is just negative. Then that means they filter won't allow no positive things to get through. They filter blocks all the positive and only receive the negative. So you'll be thinking, why? They not comprehending what I'm saying to them. Because you're thinking, I'm communicating, but they're not listening. Listen, church. Communication determines if you say it. The filter determines if they hear it. Your communication determines how you say it, and they filter it. No, look. You know, everybody communicates different. I might say things one way, and you might say them another way. But how we were raised and what we're going through, always going to determine what we hear and how we hear it. That's just the bottom line. So I'm about to say something here. And I know a lot of people are going to relate to what I'm about to say, especially if you got children. Your communication determines when you say it. Because sometimes, you ever had something you want to say to somebody, but you try to wait for the right time to say it? Then that means they filter determine when they hear it. See, you can say the same thing over and over and over for years after year after year. I know I have done it with my children. And someone else can come along and say the same thing. And they act like the windows of heaven open up. They got epiphany. They're like, man, I didn't know none of this. And you look alike. I mean, you look at me, because like my children, when they come to me, they expect a lecture. They expect me to go this long speech, so soon they ask me something, they cut off immediately. So they ain't hearing nothing I'm saying. They're waiting on the last word I say so they can get or not get what they ask me. Everything I'm saying to them, they ain't paying no attention because they know, here he go with this long speech. He going to talk about this. So they not listening to nothing I'm saying, and then somebody come right through the door and say, they like, I just told you this 5 minutes ago. Because they filter is cut on when I talk to them. So when I'm speaking, ain't nothing getting through. Whether it's good or bad, they ain't paying no attention. I could be saying something they're going to say they like, but they ain't listening to me. Okay. I'm just saying. So we're going to change our relationships. We're not only going to have to work on our communication, we're going to have to learn how work on our comprehension, have to work on our understanding. If we're expecting our relationship to change with people and with God, we're not only going to have to do a better job in conversation, communication, we're going to have to do a better job in listening. We have to learn to be active listeners. I had to look this up and go over this over and over because I understood it, but I had to get a real clarified understanding what active and passive listeners mean. I said, man, I got to take a college course on this stuff. I mean, cause I really want to know what I'm talking about. I had to really look up all these definitions. I was like, man, God. So I kind of broke it down on what I got out of it. So hopefully this helps somebody. Most people engage in what we call passive listening. We listen without reacting, without interrupting, but at the same time not paying attention to what's being said. You ever been there? People, you talking to them, they listening, they ain't interrupting, but they ain't really paying no attention. See, when somebody is a passive listener, Really, what's happening is just a one-way communication. The other person doing all the talking. And the other person not providing no feedback. Ain't asking no questions. And you don't know if they understand or not. You just steady talking. Most of the time, a passive listener make the other person feel unimportant and unappreciated. See, when you're a passive listener, because you're listening, it's just like being in the room with your children, your kids trying to tell you something, and you watching TV, you can make them feel unappreciated. Okay. You can make them feel unimportant. That's why we got to be active listeners. Active listeners build strong relationships. When you active listen to somebody, you're going to respond, or you're going to demonstrate that you understand by nodding your head like understanding. And if you ain't understanding, you're going to ask some questions to get some clarification on what they're talking about. See, when you're an active listener, you fully engage with the other person's conversation. It's a back and forth. You give them your full attention. And sometimes how you can tell somebody truly paying attention to you, they're going to ask you some questions they ain't understanding. But a passive listener, they don't care if they understand or not. They just listening. They just in the room. And when you're an active listener, you make the person feel appreciated. Make them feel like you're hearing what they are saying. See, James 1:19 teaches how to be an active listener. It said, my dear brother, I'm using the NIV version, say, my dear brother and sister. Then it say, take note. I mean, you need to write this down. You need to remember this. You need to keep this. Take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. See, James wants us to know that if we're not careful, we'll become a passive listener. Watch this. No. The world make us be passive. Did you know the world make us be passive listeners? Because how many times you watching the news, watching sports and stuff, and they got everything else going on at the same time. Got these tickets at the bottom, got stuff at the top. Everything going on at the same time. So you really ain't paying no attention to nothing. You just there. And how many of us, I'm gonna raise my hand, have the TV on just for some noise? You making yourself become a passive listener without realizing it. Because the TV is talking, so what happens is you become easy and you find yourself being passive listener to everything else because now you're used to things talking and not paying attention to it. You train yourself to be a passive listener without even knowing it. Because a lot of times I just need the TV on. People say, I just need the TV on for noise. Background noise. And that's what people in your life, people that are important to you, become background noise and you don't even realize it. And the world does it too, and we don't be paying no attention to it. Because you're watching something, next thing you know, you find yourself reading a little ticket at the bottom. No, anybody ever did that beside me? You reading what? You didn't forget what you're watching, reading everything you come across? Okay. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave it alone. Ooh, my God, my God, my God, my God, my God. See, when you become a passive listener, when you should be active listener, which is an act of love, respect, meaning you respect me enough, you love me enough to listen to something that matters to me, even if it doesn't matter to you. That's what an active listener to. You actively listening to what they're saying, even if it don't matter to you, you actively listening to them. Not just in the room with them, not being a passive listener, just like I can talk to the pole and not get a conversation. Yeah, Paul, I got problems. I got trouble. Man, everything going wrong at work. I don't know. That's the same answer I'll get out of somebody else that's a passive listener. I'm not going to get anything from them. No engagement. Okay. Let me move on. I have another question. Did you know? I knew this, but I never thought about it. Did you know that you can love someone that you do not respect? And you can respect somebody that you do not love. Did you know disrespect can be dismissive? Let's take a look at this. When you have a conversation with someone and they nod their head while you talking isn't conversation understanding. Let me break it down this way. Hold on. I'm just going to break it down to you just like this. So I'm talking to you, right? And you, okay, yeah, yeah. Say you're in a relationship. We're going to talk about God way. So you come to church or you reading the Bible and God telling you to do this, you like, I understand God. That's not agreeing. That's not active listening. And so now, in a regular relationship, you've been in a regular relationship with your husband, your wife, or your friends, and y'all talking, y'all agreeing, right? Agreeing is not while we're talking, it's after we're talking. Once this conversation is over, you need to make adjustments on what we talked about. Then I know you heard me. See, when God tells you to do something, you say, yeah, but you don't do nothing, you passive. That's not love and respect. It's after we finish talking, did you make the necessary adjustments to what we talked about? Okay. You got to make some adjustments afterward. Afterward. A lot of times, you can have a conversation and everybody can agree what we're going to do, and after nobody do nothing, then nobody do. That's not, what good did that conversation do you? Everybody, that sounds good on their phone. What are they doing? That sure sound good. Oh, my God, that sound real good. Man, I can't believe that. Oh, my God, that sound real good. Yeah? Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then you call them. Did you get that done? Get what done? And that's how we do it? How come every conversation we have to have with you, you got to have your phone out? You talking to kids, they got their tablets and phones out. Ain't old enough to have a conversation, but they got a phone. If they ain't got no phone, they got your phone. Okay. Then you wonder why you got to get a new phone every 6 months. Phones ain't, okay, I'm going to leave them alone. See, when you engage in active listening, you give the other person your undivided attention, right? So, have you ever been in a conversation and you talk to somebody, you like, hey, are you listening to me? And they say, you got my attention, I'm listening. Well, why don't you put your phone down? If I got your attention, why you need this phone? Because with the phone in your hand, you allow something or someone else to interfere with our conversation. Because the right text comes through, whatever I'm saying, you're going to disregard. Anybody ever did that? I mean, you listen to somebody, I'm talking about you on the phone, not them. And they talking good, you listening, but the right text comes through, everything they saying, stop. You answer that text. Like First Lady said, you can't multitask that well. You really can't do two things 100%. One thing gonna get less percent. You're gonna do 80% with this conversation because that's what you really engaged to, and only 20% of what they saying. You hear every other word. Okay. And that's how, and guess what else? Remember I said you only got 80% on this phone? That's why sometimes you get texts that ain't correct because they try to do two things. Okay. Okay, let me move on. Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy today. Let me move on. I'm saying move on. Y'all ain't paying no attention, but we're going to move on. We must accurately understand their words, but also the heart and the intent behind it. This is something we must try to do. See, you got to try to understand what somebody's saying. You got to try to understand their intent. It just don't happen automatically. And you got to be humble enough and put yourself aside sometimes for someone else in a conversation. Most time, only time we really want to pay attention to conversation when it's dealing with our emotions. If it's someone else's emotion, we're not paying that much attention. That's just the truth about it. Without active listening, you will have relational conflict. It'll be a conflict in your relationship if you don't have active listening. This is why so many relationships break down, break up, get confused, get messed up, because people can't get through to who they with. It's not always communication. See, it's not always no communication in a relationship that causes the problem. Sometimes the problem is people are not just listening. Think about it. Why be in a relationship? I wrote this down. This is going to sting a little bit. This is going to probably rub some of y'all the wrong way, but it's going to be true. It's tight, but it's right. Hey, y'all want to hear it? Y'all sure y'all ready to hear this? All right now. Y'all asked for it. I'm giving permission to say this. Why be in a relationship with someone who will not listen to God? I'm just saying. Because if they can't listen to God, then how do you expect them to listen to you? I'm just thinking out loud right now, okay? If God can't get through, what makes you think you got a chance to get through? So the Bible says the order of a good man's steps is ordered by the Lord. A good man's steps is ordered by the Lord. In order for you to make great decisions, good decisions, you got to be hearing from God. If you're not listening to God, then I can't tell you nothing. Okay, let me get off that. Let me move on. Look here, you can do whatever you want to do. That's why I wrote this next. You can do what you want to do if they not listening to God. I don't think you're going to get through. See, you remember last week we was talking about location, proximity, and I say when you want to lead them, they can get in your proximity. They know what to say, they know what to do. If they not listening to God, when the conversation get bad, when the relationship about to break up, they'll buy you stuff, treat you right for a moment, so that you can get back in your good grace. You think you see what you want to see. You back happy for a moment again. Next month you're in the same. Okay. If they not listening to God, they not going to listen to you. All they're going to do is go back do the same old thing again until you get mad again, and then they're going to find your proximity because they never found your location. Okay. Because, they buy you what you've been asking for. You all happy. Because you worry about what you got. You ain't worried about the relationship did not change. The relationship did not change. Because they bought you a material. Okay. Just because you come to church today, the relationship didn't change with God. You just came. You passed and listened to the whole service. Ain't taking that. When first they come up and say every Sunday, don't come in and lead the same way. You're going to lead the same way if you're not active listening. If you're just coming because somebody asked you to come just to make somebody happy. Okay. I'm just trying to help somebody. You have to listen to God in order for your relationship to work. And people say, I ain't got, yeah, you got to have God in every relationship because God is the relationship. Somebody need to know that God is the relationship. He's the one created you. And if you take about the picture, if you take about the equation, then what do you have? You ain't got nothing to lock y'all in together. You ain't got nothing to hold you together. The love that lifting you ain't the love that's going to keep you. I'm just saying. Because out there love get old, somebody going to leave somebody. Somebody's heart going to be, I don't know why I'm going this way. Somebody's heart going to be hurt. Somebody going to have some tears. Somebody going to be mad. Sometimes you end up in death, and sometimes you end up in prison. Everybody can't have them break up the same way. That's why you got to know who you with. Some people you just can't break up with. You got to get help to get out of certain situations. That's a shame you got to get help to leave somebody. I got to go. Let me get up out of here. Ooh, y'all got me way over here in this field. I'm in this field. Man, I don't know. Okay. As I said before, where there's active listening, there's going to be a present of relational conflict. Your quality of life based on these three things most of the times: principles, values, and standard. Principles, values, and standards. Principles are the truth you choose to live by, not the truth you choose to hear. See, we need to build on what the Bible says is true. We were talking about today, weren't we? Whatever the Bible says is true, your truth should be based on what the Bible says is true. That's what your truth is supposed to be based on. Not what's trending. A lot of people base their truth on what's trending. What's hot? What's the hot topic? Let me tell y'all something y'all didn't know. Because it went viral, don't mean it's valuable. Everybody doing it. Everybody, it's trending. You got to do all these challenges. You better leave that stuff alone. Because everybody doing it don't mean you need to be doing it. Values, that's the second one. Values are things that are most important to you. See, we get values mixed up. See, value is what's important to you, but we think value is what we say is important. Those two different issues. See, what's important to you is your values, not what you say important to you. Because you got proclaimed values and actual values. The difference is, people say, God is head of my life. God is first in my life. That's a proclaimed value. Because in most people's life, he really not first. But don't leave it alone. I'm not even going to touch that today. I'm going to move on like the Flintstones. Because I'll be here all day trying to break that one down. But y'all know what I mean. Let's move on to standards. We're going to move the standards. Don't leave value alone because somebody might get mad. I be value on. I go value. See what the pastor said. So I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave it alone. Let's move on to standards. Standards are the least you allow yourself and others to do or do to you or your take. Your standards are not. Look, your standards ain't way up there. No, people, you can't set standards. Did you know that? People trying to set standards. You can't set standards. I have a standard. Everybody got a standard. That's what you allow to go through for yourself or others. What you set as goals. Milestones. You set those. Your standards is what you allow. It's the lowest thing in your life. Because they're what you allow. You know, people say, I at least got to have this in a man. I at least got to have this in a woman. I at least got to have this on my job. I at least got to have this in a car. I at least have to have this if I get a house. That's your standard. What's the least you'll take? Now, your goal is, I want this, and this. You can't get it, but you're self for this. That's your standards. Okay? What you least stand for, that's it. That's the bottom line. And let me tell you all this. Now, I was talking to a guy at work the other day. People with bad standards, bad principles, and bad values always have a bad life. When I told the person at work the other day, he was talking, I said, poor decisions make poor people. Because we were talking about money. He talking about he ain't got none. I said, you made some poor decisions. Poor decisions make poor people. Somebody gonna get mad. Look here, you can't shout your way out of bad principles. You come to church and you shout and you got bad principles. How you gonna shout yourself out of bad principles? You can shout all you want to, the bad principles gonna be still attacked. And you can't dance your way out of bad values while living in bad standards. I'm just saying, you can go to church, shout all you want to. If your principles, values, and standards are bad, you're going to still have problems. That's why they say wisdom. That's the first thing you must get. And all you get an understanding. We're so quick to say a great relationship is built on communication. True. That's the key. But if you ain't listening, then well, you can talk all you want if ain't nobody listening. It gotta go back and forth. Somebody gotta listen, somebody gotta talk. Can't just have one without the other. Oh my God. See, a lot of times we try to put all the responsibility on the one who's talking. Because the quality of a relationship is not based on just the person who's talking, but it's also based on both of y'all listening. It takes two, not one. Both of y'all got to listen and both of y'all got to talk. If one person doing all the listening and one person doing all the talking, you still going to have a bad relationship. Both of y'all have to talk. Both of y'all got to talk. So now you have a relationship breakdown because someone not getting better at listening. So if you want your relationship to change, you got to do more than talk. You got to become a great listener. Let's look at some things that are going to help us become a great listener. First, we got to do is fix our filter. We got to fix the way information come in. We got to fix how we hear things. See, a lot of times the reason our things messed up is because the experience that we didn't have, the emotions that we're going through, that will impact our hearing. See, we all make assumptions about people. Have you ever made an assumption about somebody? We all make it. No. We make an assumption before we even give them the opportunity to talk, the opportunity to speak. That's me. No, me, a lot of times when people start talking, I interrupt them. I'm making an assumption of what I think they're going to say. I'm talking about me. Ain't nobody else probably did this in their life. Interrupt somebody before they get finished speaking, make an assumption of what you think they're going to say before they get a chance to explain. And instead of us asking questions to verify what they said or what we got, we just run off what we think is the right answer. And a lot of times, because we assume what they're going to say, make assumptions of what they're going to say, we fly off at the handle with our response, off our assumptions. Have you ever noticed how, I remember when I first went on Facebook with the church, and all these comments, I know Minister Ray and Minister Bridget, they would get upset at these comments. Because people, they not even look at this, they just hear one word, and they start going in. Just come in. And if people come in like that on social media, then that's how they come in real life. And I bet their relationship is probably all messed up. If they got one. Oh, boy, I heard that. I'm just saying. But let me leave that alone. They don't even get the full picture. They don't even get the full understanding, the full truth. They just start coming without knowing what's going on. I gotta leave that alone. I said, I got that twice. Leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. And I'm steady trying to talk about it. Let me leave it alone. We need to deal with our emotions, our hurts, our scars, our wounds, in order to have a healthy relationship. Now, in your relationship, I know when you're in a relationship, your friends, your partner, whoever it is you're in a relationship with, they gotta provide you the time to heal, the time to set aside to get, because a lot of times we jump from one relationship into the next one, and we don't have time in between to heal or emotionally deal with what we just left out of. Anybody jump into a relationship too quick and you haven't healed or really, because the person that you met is rushing you to get in there. You would tell them, I'm trying to take it slow. I just got a relationship. But they don't care about that because they want to be in a relationship. So you rush in a relationship. Now they got to take all these emotions, the hurt, the wounds, the scar from the last relationship. And then the relationship could have worked out if they would have just waited a little bit. But because they want to jump, there I go again in this field over here. Jesus. But what you got to remember, if the person that you're in a relationship is not responsible for your pain. A lot of times what happened, and I did this when I got married. I believe my wife, she did a little bit of it too. We keep people in prison because of what we went through in our prior relationship. My question is this, and I have to learn this. Why is the person who did this free to do whatever they want to do and live their life, but the person you with have to pay the price? Until we get better emotion with our relationship, guess what? Your relationship is going to struggle. That's what's missing. That's what's messing up our struggle, our filter. So working on our relationship means working on our heart. You got to work on your heart. The Bible said that you can prosper, but as your heart, as your soul prosper. Put your 3 John 1 and 2 up there. 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. This how you can't move forward until your soul move forward. And a lot of times you try to move forward before your soul get right. Did you know that your relationship, it ain't going to move forward until you heal? And I have another question. I'm about to get out of here. How long are you going to make someone else suffer that you love because you won't fix you? How long are you going to make someone else that you love suffer just because you won't fix you? Sometimes everybody needs therapy, and sometimes you just need therapy. I'm getting ready to close. I'm just going to touch on Conversation Part 3. Let's go to work. Just a little bit as I close out. Because it's going to be a while before I preach this because all the schedule. So I'm going to touch on Part 3 just for a moment. You know. We need to practice patience in our relationships. Did you know we need to practice patience in our relationships? Why, Bishop? Because some people process. I'm going to talk about this is how I talk. When somebody asks me a question, I'm doing something, I got to process it first, and then I speak about it, then I talk about it. I got to think about it, before I talk. So sometimes when you ask me a question and I don't immediately respond or answer, it's because I don't know what to say right now. And you keep asking me over and over, but I'm trying to process it because I want to say the right thing and I want to say it the right way. But if you don't give me time to process it and you keep pushing me for an answer, most of the time I won't say something that's going to hurt your feelings. Because I'm a process thinker and talker. I got to process it and then talk. If you ask me a compound question, I'm trying to think of it, Now my wife, she's the opposite. She process while she's talking. She talk herself through it. She'll keep talking and rambling, and you be thinking when you get to the point, you got to have patience. Because the way she get to the point is talking, and then it all come out at the end. But you might have to wait 5 or 10 minutes for it, but you're going to get it. Me, it's the same time left. You're going to wait 5 or 10 minutes to get it from me. It's just I ain't going to say nothing till I get the answer. She is going to keep talking till she get the answer. It's the same process, just in different orders. That's why you got to have patience in your relationship. If both of y'all are talkers through the process, y'all got a good relationship because both of y'all going to be rambling on, and just talking. And then if you like me, 2 people like me, y'all just going to be, we'll talk about it in a minute. Y'all both go back and think about it, then y'all come back. But when you got opposite, both of us got to have patience with the other one. And we're learning this. We actually learned how to have patience with one another way of communication. You got to know how your partner will communicate. Is he a thinker and then talk, or is he a talker while he think? I'm just saying. Because if not, you make assumption about what they mean before they have time to explain. And because you don't practice patience, and because sometimes I don't practice patience, I can communicate some stuff off. I can say some off stuff, So you got to make sure we got to try to figure some things out. And when you're in a relationship that don't show patience, value opinion, when you get one, you got to retrain yourself how to think and feel. I was talking about last week, I know Sister Missionary Jackie brought it up. See, most people in here is used to having bad relationships, whether they want to admit it or not. They're used to having relationships, over talking each other, shutting down, silent treatment. That's most everybody's relationships in here. But most of the time your relationship, you get mad, somebody gonna talk, somebody ain't gonna talk. Somebody gonna yell, somebody gonna yell a little louder. It just most of our relationships are like that. And with God, you have to humble yourself with God. And you got to do the same thing in your relationship. Somebody got to be humble. Somebody got to be humble. But what happens is that you know how to handle a bad relationship because you've been in them so long. And when you get in a good relationship, you can't handle that because you ain't been managing it. And so if somebody been treating you, every relationship you get somebody that's going to cheat on you. You get somebody that's going to abuse you. You're going to get somebody that use you. And then when you get in a relationship that person respect you, that person honor you, you call that person weak. You call that person, I don't want no weak relationship. I don't want no weak man. I don't want nobody to run all over me. Because you don't know what good look like. Because everything you had was bad. So you don't know how to manage that. You don't know how to handle that. They treat you nice. What you think about this? What you want to do? I remember Missionary Jackson said, this man said, let me go ask my wife. I asked Minister Ray sometime, I say, can you go do this? Let me call and see what my wife got to do first. I respect that. I don't ever get mad because that's what you're supposed to do. But when you do that, and people hear that, they say hand-picked. They talk about them. I mean, all that craziness. Don't let folks determine your relationship by what they think. This is your relationship. That's your. You worry about what I ain't worried about what they think. I got to go home with them, not you. And most of the ones talking, they ain't got nobody to go home to. They just talking. They want you to be like them. It's true. They probably want what you got while they talking like that. Let me leave that alone. Let me move on. No, I ain't going to come on nothing. I'm saying move on. Y'all try to put me on. Y'all try to make me go viral. No, I ain't going viral today. I done told you. I'm not. No. Y'all try to make me go viral. No. Let me move on. Let me get my notes here. Let me get in close. Come on, God. Hit this ear. Talk to me. They try to get me to go left. You say go right. Woo. Woo-wee. So this is why I was talking about, y'all was in my Smith. This is why we must ask God how to handle our relationship. Ask God, help us to see things that the other person might not be able to say to us. See, sometimes your partner, your friend, you ever been with somebody, just friend, that ain't got to be no girlfriend, boyfriend thing, marriage, nothing, but you ever been around somebody that's your friend that you want to tell them something, but you can't tell them because you feel like it's going to mess the relationship up? Anybody been like that? So that's why you got to ask God to help you see what they might not be able to tell you. And you will find out some of the biggest changes in our relationship come from what God tells us. And this reminds me again of Missionary Jackie and Daddy Herman. They said, they don't be telling me nothing. They said, I ain't going to tell Bishop, but we'll tell God. And God tell me what to change in the church, what to fix in the church. See, that's why everything you go through, take it to God. And if the person you with, that's why I say, if the person you with not going to listen to God, you got a messed up relationship. Because, see, sometimes in your relationship, all you got to do is take it to God. And if the person you with listen to God, God would tell them, and it'd be, oh, my. That's why you need a God-fearing people in your relationship. Because sometimes you can't tell your spouse, you can't tell your friend, you can't tell people you hang with, you can tell God, and God can tell them. Yeah. But if they ain't listen to God, how they going to listen to you? Yeah. I'm trying to help somebody. You have to have God in every relationship. Because sometimes God knows how to handle things that we can't handle. But if they ain't listen to God, oh my God, something just not going to be handled. Ooh, wee. And I think that's why I'm saying this next thing. I think my wife been praying to God about me. Oh, God. But here it go. Ooh, Jesus. So God told me to let y'all hear this conversation I had with God this morning. It's a lot I have to try to learn and get right in my marriage. I think we focus on mistreatment and abuse so much in a marriage that we forget to focus on all that we don't do. And they don't complain about it. Patient. Let me explain. Just because they understand that you may have a lot going on. But listen, just because they understand, don't make it right. We got to make some changes. I need to make some changes in my relationship. Yes, I got a lot to do at the church, but that don't stop me from doing what I need to do at home. It's a lot that I don't do at home because I have a full-time job and I work all week, sometimes 10, 12 hours a day, and I have so much to do at the church when I get off work, and my wife understands all of that and don't complain. Just because she know I have a lot on my plate doesn't make me neglect certain things around the house and don't make it okay. Because I have so many things to manage that I find myself dishonoring her time. Because I confuse her time with my time. Because she know I got all this stuff to do, and I just say, can you do this, instead of me asking, do she have time? I just tell her to do it. Not really telling her to do it. In my mind, I'm asking, but because I don't ask, I just say, it's like I'm telling her that I'm managing her time as part of my time. And a lot of times in relationship, because we're not mistreating a person, we're mistreating a person. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody. Because I'm not physically abusing her or mentally abusing her with my mouth, don't mean I'm not abusing her with time, if that makes any sense. And so sometimes God has to let you know where you need to balance some things. Sometimes you get off balance and you don't even know you're off balance. Because you're doing everything for God don't mean you ain't off balance. That's what Paul said, be like me. But I'm not like Paul, I'm married. And so I got to balance this thing out. When you're in a relationship, you got to balance these things out. There's some things in a relationship you can't do because you're in a relationship that you can do if you're single. You got to balance that thing out. And when you start balancing that thing out, God will open up doors and make time because he controls time. Did y'all know that? He'll make time without no time. He'll put time in there. But you got to balance the thing out. But this is all part 3. I know. Let me get out of here. I ain't going to say no more. It's time for me to go. That's part 3. Be here.